Alright, hey, what's up guys? It's Del here, and I finally got a hold of the Thunderbolt 2.0 Manta Ray equipment type, so let's take a look and see just how much has changed versus the original. And as always, I got this kit from Gundamit.com, my go-to place for third-party and independent release kits. And whenever you're over there checking them out, be sure to go in that top left-hand corner and type in supporter code DEL. Whenever you purchase stuff, it just gives me points. So it helps out the channel with no additional cost to you. Well, besides hurting your wallet's feelings by buying more plastic. But thank you, and the link will be in the description. Now let's get back to that review. Starting off as always with the unboxing, we got a very nice box here with the new colors of the kit being represented on the box itself. A nice little touch in my opinion. Now, popping it open, we're going to find a total of 32 runners. That being a breakdown of white, gray, dark gray, and a real dark kind of slate gray, but it's not quite black. Red, yellow, metallic green, and that's going to be followed by 3 double-sided action base inserts, water slides, full stickers, and our instructions. And speaking of instructions, let's go ahead and take a look at those before we get into the build. Opening up your instructions, we're going to find our list of runners, so be sure to double check and make sure all is accounted for in your box. Then, we agree with the classic multi-phase breakdown. Phase 1 being the inner frame, Phase 2 is the armor, and Phase 3 is going to be all of our accessories and action base. And then, as you can guess by now, the start of the build begins with the runner breakdown of each part, once again keeping your build area clean and makes for a much more enjoyable build session. Now for the build itself, most of the inner frame and armor on the main unit is mostly the same, so we're going to really just focus on the big differences in this review. Be sure to check out my review of the original Thunderbolt for a more in-depth build segment. Now the biggest difference here is going to be the colors. The OG Thunderbolt had a radical purple inner frame, and now it's a much more toned down gray with metallic green serving as very nice accents along with bits of yellow. Build-wise, it's 90% the same as the original, besides the shoulders and head, but those go together very easy. But I will point out, the arms feel tighter on mine versus the original. I don't know if this was intended, or my copy just happens to have some tighter fitments than normal. Now let's get that armor on, as this really makes it feel much more unique despite being largely the same kit, bringing a much more darker vibe to the Thunderbolt with this asymmetrical white and really dark gray color scheme. On camera it might appear black, but I assure you in person it's much more lines of a really dark gray. It retains all the surface detail and popping through parts of the original, but it really just changes the overall feel of the kit, and it doesn't feel repetitive, especially if you're like me and built the OG not that long ago. The new head is killer and packs color separated eyes, but with 3 different full sticker options for them to make them pop in the light even more. And the shoulders here are much more bulkier, but are really simple to build. Overall, it's just as good as build as the previous Thunderbolt, but brings a whole new vibe and experience to the build, and keeps it feeling fresh and entertaining, in my personal opinion. But now let's head over for some size comparisons. The Thunderbolt comes at a height of 20.5 centimeters, or 8.07 inches. Here it is against the Intergrade Arc 78-2, the Master Grade Gundam Mark II, the Master Grade Remastered Strike, Master Grade Blitz Gundam, Master Grade Freedom Gundam, and the Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom Gundam. So he's a little taller than average Master Grade size kits, and this model kit's clearly Seed inspired, so we just threw him against all the Seed kits I currently have built. So for the articulation, we're still going to go ahead and go over it, even though it's basically the same as the Thunderbolt 1.0. So we got our really good head movement here. You can go all the way around. I killed him. Look up that far, down that far. The arms here, I noticed were a little snug over the original, so I sanded that down a little bit. Shoulders can move independently, and we can raise our arm up. We get a really good butterfly joint. especially going backwards. Little armor flap here can move. We can rotate the arm right here. We get that double elbow bend. And we get that wrist joint here once again. Hands wrist on a ball joint. We got waist articulation here. Got a decent crunch. You can look up pretty far. And we have some side to side. Can move those up. Same with the back skirts, but not as far. And the side skirts can come out a little bit, but I find they largely just they're pretty much out of the way most of the time anyway. But we get the leg up really far. Can bend it. Get that armor separation there in the knee. We can go back that far, out that far. We can move the armor up here, up and down. We maintain that great foot and ankle articulation from the original. So yeah, just very quick articulation segment, as it's the frame and everything besides the shoulders and head are completely the same as the Thunderbolt 1.0. Here we have the action base. I already got my selected insert that I want in there, but you get several more options here, and they're all double-sided, so that's pretty cool. These would be cool just to put up on the wall somewhere, like especially this one with all the line art of each of the parts. That's pretty neat. But we get 2 different arms here. This one has no locking parts, but it is really snug. And this one is pretty much the exact same thing you got with the Thunderbolt 1.0. Same locking mechanisms and the usual push here to unlock to move that. Same thing. Here you have the trident of the Manta. Once again, we just really got that cool metallic paint on show. On the camera, it's looking more blue, but in person, it's more like green turquoise color than blue. On this one, we just got a little slot there. And all we're going to do with this one is get this hand separated. If my hands would cooperate with me, getting a tool out for it that has no blade on it. Hold up, wait a minute. Yeah, let me actually get something up in there to where I can. There we go. Part separator. There you go. And it holds on there pretty snug. I figured it would peg in, but it doesn't. That peg right there is for something later. So I grabbed some stuff from the Thunderbolt 1.0, and I mean theoretically, there should be exactly the same fit. The hands are exactly the same, so the railgun should fit too. Let's just set you down there because your back heavy is crap now. And we're going to, of course, use these, which is exactly the same hands. Put that on. Yep, fits just fine. Fully compatible. Colors don't match at all, but I mean, get some paint involved, you can make a pretty sick custom. Here we have the shield. Got some more fantastic part separation here. And we got a slot here on the back, which we'll show in a little bit. Here we have the peg for plugging into either side of the arm here. Just take that and slide in just like that. There you go, he has a shield. Alright, so starting off the accessories with the hands. Here we have 2 base hands here. And these are going to have swappable fingers. So we have a widespread dynamic hand. Closed fist. Come on, fingers. Work with me. Work with me. Okay. And a trigger finger hand. Come on. There we go. And of course we got a posable thumb. And then we get a pair of these fixed pose hands that are going to be used to hold some of the weapons. We got 2 gun blades, and these are transformable. I have 2 modes. So right here is just in its standard slash mode. But we can take this, move it down, move down the handle, and we can pull out the bottom part here and raise up this front sight. And there it is in shooting mode. And these attach the same way as the trident. You just sandwich the hand over it. Oh, and something else to point out. You'll notice when you move this handle down, the yellow part pushes out. That'll help us in the future. Here we have the beam rifle. And I gotta say, this is one of my favorite designed beam rifles I've had recently. It just looks very cool. And we have a removable magazine. And that's all about the gimmicks it has. In order to get this into the hand, you're going to want to get that trigger finger hand from earlier. We're going to remove the fingers, and we're just going to snap that on there. And then that doesn't feel on there very snugly. Oh, there we go. Okay. It's on there now. Yeah, just speed this up till I get this in here, because obviously I'm incompetent. Alright, you get the handle on, like that, and there you go. Alright, it's time for what gives the 2.0 Manta Ray its name, the backpack. This thing was insane. Following the trend of third-party kits and their crazy backpacks, this thing was basically a kit in itself and took just about as long as the whole main unit. So for starters, just this by itself has quite a few gimmicks. We can extend out these sections on each side, and then we reveal some cool little turbines, and the wheel is movable and spinnable. My finger is just too big to get in there. But like, trust, it's spinnable. See, it's spin. I'm not lying. These little guys are movable too. But we can move this all around. We can articulate a little bit. We can go inward and outward a bit on these cool little joints here that extend and retract. You see more of the silver parts underneath the yellow there. And this is where the cockpit is. You can see them down in there. This is removable, but doesn't do much. And for attaching to the back, and something really cool in my opinion, is so whenever you move this, right here, this peg is what's going to plug into the back of the Thunderbolt. When you move them up, you can see the pilot figure in there gets moved as well to face forward. And that's just a little extra touch because it would make sense whenever it goes like docking mode for the cockpit to turn forward to be like inserted into the mobile suit. Then like in my head canon, kind of like Power Rangers, like the captain's chair would slide into the Thunderbolt and then be piloted from there. That's just my little head canon I cooked up. Crazy backpack, huge. All right, we're gonna go over how to transform this into its manta ray mode. So for starters, the easiest part is we take our shield here and that peg on the back from earlier, we'll just plug that in right there. On the bottom of this here. The way I'm going to show you how to do this part is much easier for me than the way they want you to do it. So we're just going to put that aside for now. And then we're going to need our trident, our gun blades, and then these little connection part right here. So you're going to want to collapse these a good amount like that. I already have this one ready. And so if we grab one of our parts here, grab a little peg, and we're going to line it up with that and plug it in. So there's a little tab here on the yellow. We're just going to take that and snap it in. Same thing on this side. Just take that and plug it in like so. And then this part's kind of tricky. We're going to try and sandwich this over itself without dropping it on the floor. I got it. Here, I'm going to do it to this first. Like that. Sorry, this is a little tricky of a balancing act to do, especially on camera. Get the idea. We'll cut to whenever I have this on. Okay. I did it. Now, for those little arms from earlier, we're going to bend those down, over, and then we move the little peg down. Just over in this general direction for now. Like that, and like that. There's a little slot here. And we're going to take that, and this is going to slide into it. Like that. And then we're going to want to... I don't know how the heck I'm going to do this on camera. We just take that. We plug it in. The handle's going to move. Because in the manual, it recommends you hold down the handle while you plug it in. Normally I would, but I'm doing this on camera, and it's a little difficult. There we go. Get that plugged in. Then we can adjust it a little bit. But there we go. Manta ray mode. Also forgot to mention there's little rocket pods here. Like that. And this thing is quite big. So if I stand this up on its tip, they're just next to the Thunderbolt. For the action base, there's a there's both these arms, and they each have their own features. So this is what's referred to as a standing action base. At least that's what it says in the manual. And for that, we want this piece right here. And we're going to temporarily disassemble Manta ray mode. Just a second here. So, on our Manta right here, we're going to notice this little slot here. So we're going to take that, and we slide it down in there. Did I do that right? Hold on a minute. Let me double check. Let me fact check myself, because I don't get this wrong, because it's kind of specific. Nope, I did it backwards. So you want to slide it in there like this. And so what I assume and why it's called standing display is that it's going to pop in there like that, and then this one seems to be lower to the ground, so we can actually have the Thunderbolt. I wasn't kidding that said this one's smooth or tight. You can actually have them in a standing pose since it's lower to the ground. I like that because honestly, a lot of times I have my model kits displayed in static poses, just like this, versus up in a aerial action pose, since that takes up a lot more space. I mean, this guy's gonna take up a lot of space anyway because these things are so wide. But it's nice to have the option. And now, this is what they're calling the suspension action base. We're gonna want this smaller part. And so just like the previous one, we slide this in there. We get it in the action base. Let's go ahead and that fully. And let me get this unlocked so we can get that pose up a little bit. I don't think I did that right again. There we go. That's better. So make sure you do it like the right way, you know? And then this one is going to be for having up in aerial poses. So it's nice to have options. Then we have this piece whenever you want to display it in manta ray mode on its own. And we're just going to take this and it snaps in here, like so, like that, and we just plug her on down in there. So you can have that pose independently. Though, I do wish they included this, like the smaller action base, like they did with their Thunderbolt 1.0, so you can have both of them displayed pretty easily. But I mean, I guess you can always just like, yeah. There he is! They're both displayed. But you know what I mean. So, be careful. I just had this happen while I'm trying to start to get some final shots here. And both those tabs broke. Trying to hold this up by itself. So yeah, watch out for that, because it gets very back heavy with the trident and stuff. So if you are curious to why I'll have them displayed by this by itself, that's why. Because the part broke. So, yay. Alright guys, we're once again here at the end of the video, and what do I think about the Thunderbolt 2.0 Manta Ray equipment type from NR Plus? I think it's a great buy. I mean, it's 90% the same kit, plus different shoulders, a head, and a whole array of new equipment. I think the new color scheme is way better than the original, and the original is really good. But I don't know, man, something about that asymmetrical black and white, and those awesome neon decals really just take it up to an extra notch. I feel like if you don't have either of them, I would prioritize getting this one over the 1.0. And even if you have the 1.0, go ahead and pick this one up. It's different enough to warrant the buy. As far as cons go, I feel like they could have done a little bit more with the overall design instead of just new shoulders and head. Maybe like do some different arm armor or something, but I understand the idea of it. It's a modified version of their in-universe Thunderbolt, so it makes sense. And those water slide decals, again, just make everything pop, and they're very strong. And Era Plus's decals are always very good, much better than Bandai's. And I mean, I don't top coat these kits usually just because I'm so busy, and I don't have issues with NR's decals like flaking off or anything. So yeah, definitely pick this kit up, and I feel like everyone will enjoy it. But until next time, guys, you all take care and have a wonderful day.